Well, hey, welcome everybody to the April 2024 meeting of the GEG Ohio, the Google Educator Group of Ohio. This is a monthly meeting where we take a look at everything new in Google from the last month, share some googly tips and tricks, and answer questions related to using Google tools in school. Thanks for being here. A quick intro. Hi, my name is Eric Kurtz. I am a tech coach at the Stark County Educational Service Center. Specifically at SPARC, the Stark Portage Area Computer Consortium here at the ESC. We support about 35 school districts up here in Northeast Ohio. I'm joined today by Denny. Denny, want to do a quick intro?
Hey all, my name is Denny Hammond. I'm the tech data coach at Adena Local Schools, representing the Southern Ohio region.
Excellent. And we do have some other co-hosts that join us from time to time. Just depends on schedules. We typically have all four corners and the center of the state represented by each of us. But today it's Denny and myself who'll be hanging out with you. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started here. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody who is here. We would encourage you to pull up the resource document if you don't have it pulled up yet. I will do a couple of things. Let me drop it into the live stream in case anybody doesn't have it open and they're watching live. I'm putting it into the stream right now. If you need to get to it by watching the recording later, I should have the link underneath it as well. But you can always go to the website, bit.ly/GEG Ohio. That is the link for the GEG Ohio website. When you go to that website, if you head over to the monthly meetings link, you can always get to the link there. You can scroll on down, you'll see the calendar. Here's April 24th. Here is the agenda link. So there you go. That'll get you to the document as well. This is going to be our guide throughout the whole session here. This document is what we'll be using. It is an editable document. You are allowed to type into this. We encourage you to do so. If there's things you would like to add, please do. As we head down through here, you'll see we've got a section here on upcoming events. That would be a great spot to add some details if you're aware of a conference or a training that we do not have listed. There's another section further down, which is the show and tell section, that includes a community show and tell section. That's a great place for you to share tips, tricks, resources, things that you would like to share with the group. There's also a Q&A section. Please feel free to add anything into the Q&A there as well. If you've got a question, drop that in and we will do our best to answer those. And if we don't have an answer, hopefully somebody else in the group will. I thought there were a couple of questions in there earlier that seemed to be missing at the moment. So I don't know if the folks who put those in decided that they were okay and didn't need them answered, or if they accidentally got deleted. If so, please feel free to re-enter those questions, and apologies if they accidentally got deleted in there. But nevertheless, that is the document we're going to be using. Also, please use the chat. We're going to be monitoring the YouTube chat throughout the session. For example, if you want to say hi, now's a great time to do it. You can say hi. I do see we've got a few people saying hi. Jessica from Georgia, Melissa from Palmdale, California. I've been to Palmdale. That's a great place. It's been several years pre-pandemic that I was out there, but I had a great time there. So feel free to say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're connecting from. And as you noticed, yes, this is GEG Ohio, but I just mentioned Georgia and California. Hey, because we're open to anybody. Yes, this is a Ohio-based Google Educator group, but we absolutely welcome folks from anywhere around the world. As long as you have an interest in using Google tools in education, you have found a perfect home here. So we welcome you here today. All right, with all of that said, let's go ahead and get on into things. We've already done our welcome and introductions. Under important links, I do want to point out, as always, our sign-in form. So on page 2, highlighted in green are the important links. You will see the sign-in link there that will take you out to a Google form where you can fill in your name, email address, school district, the date of the meeting, things like that. That allows us to send you a certificate of attendance afterwards so that so you can get credit for taking part in this meeting. Now, somebody had asked me, I got an email this week saying, is it okay to do that? if I don't watch it live? What if I'm watching the recording later? So for those that are here live, no worries. But if you're watching this as a recording, yeah, it's still okay. Yeah, if you watch the full video, Scout's honor, we'll leave it up to you. Yes, you can still sign in on that sign-in form. I don't send out the certificates right away. I usually wait till closer to the next meeting. So you've got plenty of time if you are watching the recording to get that to fill out that attendance form there as well. Encourage you to do that. Next up, group updates. We always just like to remind you that in between our meetings, there are ways to stay connected. We have a Facebook group and we also have a Google group. The Google group is pretty active. This is a great way to be able to ask questions, share resources, connect with others. So in between the meetings, feel free to join that. I usually like to check and see what we're up to. Let me see. 1,661 members. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. So 1,661 folks you can connect with in that Google group. We would encourage you to do that if you have not done so already. Next up, we've got a section here on upcoming events. Yeah, some of these are a little more Ohio specific, but there's definitely some things here that would apply to everybody. Let's highlight a couple of key things. We do have our AI summits coming up here across the state of Ohio, starting in May and going into August. Again, the 4 different corners of the state getting represented there. I will definitely be speaking at the one in Sandusky on May 9th, waiting to hear about the one up here in Northeast Ohio. I haven't heard back on that one, but we do have the schedule for the May 9th. I will be at that. Unfortunately, I have commitments on the 2nd and August 13th, so I can't take part in those. Denny, are you planning on being at any of these AI ESC summits that they're doing across the state?
Not currently.
Okay.
Not currently.
No worries. Yeah, but keep an eye out for those because they're trying to spread them out around the state so everybody can get to one of those. Other upcoming things, Brainstorm, a little bit more of an IT rather than curriculum type of a conference. That's coming up early May here as well. I do have a webinar that anybody could take advantage of. This is the Chromebook Accessibility Tools webinar that I'm doing on May 8th. If you're interested in catching that, I do have a link to my blog post on that. This is sponsored by Trifera, and I'll be doing a webinar all about all of the amazing accessibility tools that are built right into a Chromebook. Totally free webinar. Would encourage you to sign up for that if you haven't done so. Another one that's new to the list this month is the Innovative Practices Conference down in Cincinnati. I will be speaking at this one as well. I am part of this, but this is an awesome 2-day conference that's going on in the Cincinnati area. And so there's a link there with all the details to that conference coming up at the end of May. Nice way to finish out the school year. And really close to home is our Spark conference for this year. So as you see it, we're calling it the HEIS Spark conference because we've combined 2 different conferences together. HEIS is the high impact conference for educators that the ESC does, the Stark County ESC, whereas the Spark conference is the EdTech conference that we at Spark do. But we're all one big happy family here at the ESC, and so we have come together 2 conferences as one. This is coming up here in June 11th and 12th. It is an in-person conference. You do need to be here for the conference. It will be held at Hoover High School, but selected sessions will be recorded for available viewing later. So it is possible you could still catch some sessions afterwards as well. The registration is open now. So they're excited to let you know registration is open. Here's a form you can fill out to register for that. It is free, but you do need to fill out the registration form to attend that conference. Of course, ISTE, another big one coming up in June. I will be speaking at ISTE again this year. And somebody asked down in the, not to go out of order, but in the Q&A, somebody asked, hey, last year, Eric did this ISTE sharing document. Are you doing it again this year? And say, yep, I sure am. And so if you're going to be going to ISTE, I just lost my place now. There it is. I do have that sharing document linked in both in the Q&A as well as up here in the upcoming events. This is an editable document that anybody can type in. It's a great place to add your name. If you're going to be attending ISTE, you can put in here that you're going to be attending, any sessions you're going to be doing, and then we'll start listing like mixers and events and meetups and things to do while you're there at ISTE. So just been kicking off that document. We'll get that filled in with lots of amazing people over the next month or so. Other than that, the other things on here I think we've had in previous months, but just another shout out again that what used to be the Learn 21 conference is now the EdTech Leaders Alliance conference. That is going to be in October, and the iTip Google Summit that typically was in the spring is also going to be in the fall. So a lot of great stuff coming up there. Denny, did I miss anything there? Are you aware of any other trainings, conferences, webinars, or did you want to comment on any of those that I just blasted through real quick?
Those are pretty much all the ones that I'm aware of, and even more. I love the iTip conference, and I do plan to present at ISTE, but I'll be doing it remotely.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Great. I do have one virtual session at ISTE as well. I will be there in person, but I'm actually, one of my sessions is one of their virtual sessions. The others are going to be the in-person sessions there. Excellent. All right. Well, that brings us to the main course of our meetings. Typically, what we try to focus on here each month is what's new in Google, because, hey, it's a moving target. There's always new things coming out, and we want to make sure that you do not get caught off guard. This way, you can be aware of the new things that are coming so that you can prepare your staff or make the best use of these new updates. Do notice I do have an emoji key that I use for each of these updates in case they involve something that requires a special tier. Some of these are just for like, oh, the teaching and learning upgrade or the education plus tier or something like that. So as we're looking at these, that's what those icons indicate. We're not going to go through every single update here, but I did pick several that I thought stood out to me. Those are the ones that you see bolded. If you've got a question on something that I'm not covering, please feel free to ask, or you can always click on the resource links to investigate these more on your own. Not a real busy month. As we're looking here, I would say this is one of our shorter lists. We were chatting before the meeting about, oh, this might be a quick meeting. Well, famous last words. I know we've said that before, and who knows what things may turn into. But on paper, it looks like maybe a little bit of a quicker one here this time. We did not have quite as many updates here since our last meeting. But let's talk about the updates we do have. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Google had their Cloud Next 2024 conference that they held in early April. Now, this is not a conference or an event that is particularly geared toward education. This is a developers conference. So 95+% of the things that came out of that would not be something that you're going to necessarily, be directly impacted by. It's for developers, coders, people that are building products with Google tools. But we still do get impacted by that in education. Things that happen from that can impact us. So there were a few things. And so under highlights, you can see I listed 3 things. So out of everything, there's a blog post here of all 218 things they announced. So yes, out of all 218, I picked out 3 that I thought might have a pretty quick direct impact on us as educators. But I would definitely say check out all 218 if you do want to look at more of them. But the ones that caught my eye was Google Vids, tabs in docs, and new tables and sheets. So let's talk about those, and we can actually find all of those inside of this post here that said 5 workspace announcements. That's all of those are actually inside of that one link there. So 5 workspace announcements from Google Cloud. So I'm going to pop that one open, and I'm going to use that to quickly chat about these. So one of the things they talked about is Vids, Google Vids as a completely new product. By the way, I do have a separate link if you want to go to the Google Vids announcement. Here's their page specifically for that. I would actually encourage you to watch the video. I'm not sure that I can play it here because this is on YouTube, and it'd be a YouTube video in a YouTube video. We might get hit with a copyright strike there. So I'm not going to play play their video inside of our meeting here, but you can play it on your own. It is a really good video that really helps explain what this is about. I'll do my best to give you the gist here. Basically, this is being touted as a new Google tool on the same level as docs, sheets, slides, forms, things like that. So when they've shown the videos, when you watch the video, it shows it actually being in the regular Drive menu for creating a new file. So like if I go to Google Drive, obviously we don't have access to this yet. I'm just saying when you go to Google Drive and you click on the new button, they're showing it being like here up in the main menus with docs, sheets, slides, and forms. They're showing Google Vids as being on the same level as docs and sheets and things like that. So I think they're going all in on this. This is not like a little hidden away kind of a thing. This is going to be something they're really pushing. And basically what it is an AI powered video creation tool. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean like, don't think of like Premiere Pro, or don't think of like Video or Clipchamp or things like that are maybe more for, I've recorded a video and now I want to take the video I recorded and I want to do some editing to my, the trip I took on vacation. I want to edit that. This is more like building from scratch, more of for an educator, like an instructional video. They're touting this more like a salesperson putting together a sales pitch video kind of a thing. Here's the idea. Basically, it's AI to walk you through the whole step. So what it can do is it can help make a storyboard. You can basically say, I need to make a video that, covers XYZ. It can help create a storyboard and then help you edit that, pick a style, to choose from stock videos, images, background music, to pick a voiceover to go along with this, to basically create this entire video that's going to be a little bit more, like I said, more of an explainer video. So don't think of it as like, again, I've recorded this video and now I'm editing it. It's creating it from scratch. It's building this explainer video. And you can see here, they're showing like, hey, let's pick what kind of video we want to make. Now let's pick a template we want to go with. And now let's pick a voiceover voice to go along with it. So in the end, I think a lot of possibilities here. They're leaning heavily into like a project management, sales, business approach here. But hey, as educators, we can take anything and we can make it fit into a school situation. So it could be like, an instructional video. It could be a student presentation. A lot of possibilities. I don't really know, though, yet much more about it than that. They're saying it's going to be coming out in June. They are saying it's going to be part of Workspace Labs, which makes me think they're going to be doing some testing with this first. Workspace Labs is usually where they are testing out their new AI features. Because it's AI driven, I'm not sure if it's going to be free. I wonder if this is going to be part of, I'm just speculating here. I have no inside scoop. I do not have any extra knowledge on this. I'm completely speculating. But I wonder, especially when I go to the Vids page and it talks a whole lot about how this is going to be, part of Gemini and stuff. I'm wondering, is this going to be part of the paid Gemini for Workspace tier, that if you pay the Gemini for Workspace add-on license, which in the past, I think I've used this little icon for. So I didn't use it here because I'm not sure, but I'm wondering if Vids is going to be, part of the Gemini for Workspace Enterprise add-on. So got to find out. I'm not sure. I see a little bit of activity in the chat there. Dan, hey, thanks for being here, Dan. Always great to have you with us. Dan had grabbed a blurb from there, which was the question, when will be available? And yes, correct, Dan. There was a little in the little FAQ here. Yes, you're right. They're talking about how they're going to iterate and refine these experiences through Workspace Labs before making them available to select Gemini for Google Workspace plans. So yeah, kind of feeling like that it may be something that is part of their bigger AI subscription plans. So we'll have to see how that shakes out in the end there. For what it's worth, though, keep in mind, I know we're coming from education here. We still do not have the final official word from Google on what Gemini for education workspace is going to look like. Everything they've shared has been Gemini for workspace for business. They've announced in a previous blog post, I'd have to find it, it was a month or two ago, they said something about coming soon information about Gemini for workspace for education, and they got left at that. So we have no more details other than a promise from a blog post like a month or a month and a half ago that coming soon we'll have more details about what this looks like for education. So I guess I'm just saying there's a lot up in the air. We don't know for sure what this is going to look like for schools yet. So hang tight on that. Having said that, the next two things that I picked have nothing to do with special AI tiers or anything. Tabs in docs, and tables and sheets. Let's take a look here. Tabs in docs. Where was that one at? Boop, 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 boop. Oh, there it is. Same one. So it was the one that was 5 workspace announcements from Google Cloud Next, just further down. If you keep scrolling down to point 4, number 4 in that list. They mention a couple of things that are getting updated. They talk about how Sheets is going to get a new tables feature that formats and organizes data in a sleek, updated design. Select a template from our new set of building blocks, featuring everything from project management to event planning and inventory management. So you never have to build a spreadsheet from scratch again. And that this will be available to all workspace plans in the coming weeks. So that's nice. So we'll be able to, in Sheets, not have to put as much work into building and creating a special layout for our tables. There's going to be some really nice pre-made templates in Sheets. So, hey, that's great. And then the other one, I'm really curious about what this is going to look like. Meanwhile, we're rolling out a new tabs experience in Docs, which can help you organize related information in a single document. I don't know what to think about that. So it sounds like in a document, like here inside of Google Docs, like documents inside a document. So like tabs in the document. So there'll be like, I don't know, kind of like right now, if we have like a table of contents, like up here with the table of contents where we can jump to different areas, almost like that table of contents would become tabs instead. And if I click on them, it would change what I'm looking at here below. Like it would bring up just the group updates or just the show and tell. So it's like tabs rather than actually scrolling down to the next section, I'm guessing. Not sure, but that could be really handy because rather than scrolling forever down a page, if instead I can just be clicking on tabs here for the agenda and it's just bringing up that section right below, that's nice. That's a nice cleaned up way to look at a document, at least the way I'm envisioning it. I could be wrong in what that's going to look like in the end there. So folks, those were from that particular announcement from Cloud Next. Those were the 3 things out of the 218 that caught my eye. So I don't know. Denny, did you see something that I missed, or is there anything in the chat, anything popping up in the chat there that we should be addressing?
As far as the chat, I didn't see any additional questions. I haven't used OneNote a lot, but I know a couple mentioned it sounds like OneNote.
You mean like the tabs feature?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. I do see some discussion in here about pricing. Dan had mentioned that the Gemini for Workspace plan, correct? The Gemini, I know we've talked about this in previous meetings. I've got a whole blog post up about this as well, about the different Gemini pricing plans. I think last month we went into this a little bit deeper. That Gemini for Workspace has 2 versions. There's a $30 a month and a $20 a month version of businesses, and that there's a lot of nice things that come with that. But yeah, we're still waiting to hear officially what this is going to mean for education. That's the business pricing. So fingers crossed that maybe we get something better. I don't know. Again, I have no inside information on this. I'm completely just going off of the blog post they made about a month or so back saying that education information would be coming soon on that. So we'll see. All right. Well, hey, that's Cloud Next. So let's keep on moving though and see what else got my attention. So another thing that caught my eye was that Google released a prompting guide with tips for Gemini in Workspace. There is a resource link here to the blog post that I came across this on. Actually, 9to5 Google was the one who announced this. They're one of the Google adjacent blogs out there. They're not from Google. They just report on Google. There's several that do this, like Chrome Story and so forth. And so this is one of those. And they were the ones who caught this. I don't know why Google didn't make a bigger announcement on this. I think it would be good for people to be aware of. So this is a guide that they put out, and there's a link here if you want to then actually go and download the guide. You basically fill in your key information here, hit submit, and then it will let you download the guide. And I have done so. I did fill that out. And again, I think they're just, obviously wanting to give something while getting information on people that are interested in Google Gemini. But it's nice. It's a prompting guide that talks about how to build better prompts. As you can see from the 9to5 Google article, they put a couple of quick, examples in here where you can see, excerpts from the guide where they're saying, okay, the type of things you should do is you should, include a persona when you're prompting, who you are or who you want the AI to be. A task, tell Gemini specifically, what it is you want it to do. Give it context, providing as much detail as possible, and then tell it the format. How do you want the final product to be created? So it's showing now. Yes, again, keep in mind it's more business related. Yes, this is a little more geared toward business. I am an HR manager. I'm developing a script for a presentation for new hires. I need to create a script, blah, blah, blah. Help me draft talking points, blah, blah, blah. But it's showing you these 4 main key pieces here and what those could look like if you were to put them into a prompt. So yes, even though the examples in this guide lean much more toward marketing, sales, project management, things like that, it still does a nice it's a nice job of showing you how to structure a prompt. So if you're heading over to Gemini and you're typing in prompts and you're wanting to get the best result out of what you type in, this is straight from Google. So this is not somebody else's opinion. This is from Google. This is their prompting guide. They're saying, if you want to get the best out of Gemini, we have found these are some of the tips that are going to help you get the most out of them, out of those. So, and of course, I think you could apply this to ChatGPT and Claude and, Mistral and all of the different ones that are out there. So, but anyway, as we're looking for ways to improve prompting, which I think is always a hot topic, I think I see that all the time, here's a good, a good prompting guide, people are sharing those sort of things a lot. Well, here's another one straight from Google that you might find to be. All right, good stuff. Let's see what we got next here. Next up, here's one I can actually demo for you guys. AI editing tools are coming to all Google Photos users. So let's first talk about this, and then I'm going to demonstrate it for you to show you what this one's about. So I don't know how long ago, but sometime in the past, Google started rolling out some AI editing tools inside of Google Photos, but they limited it to only people who had like a Pixel phone or to somebody who paid for the Google One subscription. So it was limited to who had access to these. Well, they've decided, you know what? Nah, we're just going to let everybody have this. So starting May 15th, many of their AI-powered tools are going to be available to anybody who uses Google Photos, no subscription required at all. You'll be able to do this on, all sorts of devices. And so this includes Magic Eraser, Photo Unblur, and Portrait Light. So like Magic Eraser, the idea behind that is, if there's something in the picture that shouldn't be there, you can erase that. Here's the Photo Unblur they're showing down there, where the AI goes through and sharpens up an image. Here's the Magic Eraser, where they're removing a trash can in the background there. And then here is the Portrait Light, where maybe you had too much backlighting and you couldn't see people's faces well, and it goes through and it adjusts those sort of things. So that's really nice that everybody can now have access to this. So let me show you. Let me wake my phone up here for a moment here. And let me put it up on the screen. Give me just a moment to bring my phone over here. All right, so you should be seeing my phone now. So here's my phone, and here is a picture that I took in San Francisco. So this was, I had a chance to take a little mini trip to San Francisco. That is not me there, but so I was going around San Francisco on a little tour, and this was one of the sites they took us by. I don't know if anybody recognizes. Does anybody recognize what these? I would be curious to know if anybody recognizes these houses. They were on the tour for a very specific reason. So if you've been to San Francisco, if you recognize why these houses were included on the tour, please feel free to throw that in the chat. I'm just curious if anybody. I did not recognize them until they told me. Once they told me why they were there, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I now recognize why those were. Oh, there we go. People are saying Full House. Yes. So if you ever watch the show Full House, in the beginning, when they were doing like the little jingle, the little thing at the start, and they're doing all the credits and the people, there was a scene of all of the characters here in this park right in front of these houses, which are typically called the Painted Ladies. That is a term used to describe this row of houses there. So yes. So the tour went by that. So I'm trying to take a picture of this, and guess what? This dude here decided this would be the perfect time to park his scooter and stretch out those hammies, because you got a little cramp there, and so he decided to just stop right there and do that. Well, we're thinking, well, oh no, the picture's ruined. Well, no, it's not ruined. It's totally fine. But the point is, I can now, because of these free AI tools, I could come in here and say, I want to edit my photo. And when I go in to edit my photo, I could come over here to the tools section, and there's Magic Eraser. And so I could click on Magic Eraser, and it's going to try to guess for me what I want to have erased. And it wasn't really sure, so that's fine. I'm not going to have it erase it. I don't know what it saw, but basically I can zoom in here, and now I can use my finger, and I'm just basically going to start highlighting this person. Here's who's here. Shouldn't take me too long here. Just kind of highlight them. So basically, I'm just doing my best to say, hey, I don't want this person in my picture. And they're gone. As simple as that, and so, now it's just using AI to remove that. I could go ahead and hit done. And if I wanted to, I could then save a copy of that. And now I've got my own, copy saved of that. I'd have to scroll to find the copy of it now. It's here somewhere. Oh, where's the copy? There it is. There we go. And so there it is. There's the copy without that guy doing the leg stretch there. So I think that's nice. I'm excited that this is one of the cases where Google has broadened the access to a tool. Lately, it seems like it goes the other direction a lot. It seems like, hey, here's this new tool. Yeah, but it's part of the teaching and learning, or it's part of the Gemini paid thing, or it's part of Education Plus or whatever. Well, here's a situation where instead they've said, nope, we're going to actually expand this, and now anybody can use these features. So thought that was nice. Nice to have those features freely available for any time we need to do photo editing. Good stuff. All right, let's keep on going. So what is up next here? How about this? Google has released a new generative AI course for educators in collaboration with MIT Raise. All right, so Really excited about this. Let's pull up our resource documents here. So this was the actual announcement where you can read this blog post, and it explains about this new generative AI course that has been designed. And then the next link actually takes you out to the course itself. Now, this is free. There's no cost, nothing like that at all. It's a free course. Um, and they're estimating about 2 hours to complete this, to go through this course. And basically what it's going to do, it's designed to help educators learn more about generative AI. Now, this has been created in conjunction with MIT Raise. They do great stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with MIT Raise. It stands for responsible AI for social empowerment and education from MIT. And they do really good stuff. They put out a load of great resources. I actually have them linked in on I don't know if it was last month that I shared it, or is it this month that I shared it? Must have been last month. I had a blog post where I was talking about resources to teach students about AI. That one, I'd have to go back and find it now. That was about a month and a half ago, I think. There was a bunch of MIT resources in that one. So if we go back far enough here, apologies, I thought it was closer than that. Maybe, oh, there it is. It was February. Okay. So back in February, here was my blog post on free resources to teach your students about AI. And so this is for students, whereas this is for educators. This one here, we're talking about teachers taking this course. This blog post was about AI curriculum for students. Well, there's a bunch of MIT stuff in this. Yeah, here's a Google one, and this is Common Sense Media. This is, I think there's a code.org one here, but here we go. So Day of AI, that's MIT Raise. There's also, let me see, there's another one down here. Yes, the Daily Middle School AI Curriculum, that's also from MIT. So, and the Ethics of AI Curriculum, that's also MIT. They're really active in creating good content related to AI. So this one, basically, this is for educators, and it is a free course. So if you're looking to help your educators, your staff members, your colleagues, yourself get more comfortable with AI in education, you can come here and go ahead and quickly get started and take that 2-hour course at your own time and pace, and hopefully pick up some new tips and tricks and a higher comfort level with ways to use AI in education. So they're saying save you time with everyday tasks, personalized instruction, enhanced lessons, and activities in creative ways. So good stuff. Thanks, Google. We appreciate you and MIT providing that to us. All right, next up, probably not going to spend much time on this one, but I think it's worth just a quick shout out. Gmail is apparently getting a new feature called a subscriptions manager that might help unclog your inbox. Now, this is again from 9 to 5 Google. They report on Google things. So they picked this up here and there and shared it out, that it looks like there's going to be a subscriptions section in Gmail. And the idea is it's going to allow you to manage your subscriptions in one place and see like how many messages you're actually getting from each mailing list and decide, do I really want to still keep subscribing to that mailing list or not? So this is just be very helpful in our constant fight against inbox clog, whether it's your personal email account or your school email account. I'm not sure when this is supposed to be coming out, just something that they had noticed. And so it looks like it's in the works. So keep an eye out for a potential subscriptions manager showing up in Gmail. All right, next up, again, probably not going to spend a bunch of time on this one either. It's just a change that I don't want somebody to get confused about. And that is Google has officially decided to remove their side panel button, and they're moving toward pinning instead. Now, let me explain again, another 9 to 5 Google article here. They do a nice job sharing these things. But for a long time, we had a side panel button up in the top right-hand corner of Chrome. Now, I do not have that button up here. It is gone now, but we used to have this little side panel button. It looked like kind of like two rectangles next to each other, and you could click it and it would open up a side panel. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty slick. You would click on that little button and then you could pick things like your reading list, your bookmarks, your history. It had access to reading mode. It had access to search. They decided, nope, we're just not going to do it. We're not going to have that be the way you access these things. Now, heads up, we have not lost any of the things that were in it. You just have to get to them another way. The reading list, the bookmarks, the history, the reading mode, the search, all of that is still here. We just don't have a side panel button anymore. So for example, if I go up to my three dots button and I go down to, obviously my history, well, there you go. I can get to my history there. Or if I want to do my reading list, that's under bookmarks and lists. There's the reading list. And so I could say, I want to show my reading list. Reading mode, to get to reading mode, it's more of a right click, and then you say open in reading mode. So all of these are still there. They just now have a different way to get to them instead. So I can say, hey, I want to do this page in reading mode. And then it pops open the reading mode option over here on the side. Now, what they're saying about pinning is if you decide, I really like reading mode and I don't feel like wanting to constantly, right click and then go down here and say, I want to, open this in reading mode, which is right there. Or if you say, oh, I really like having my my reading list. Like, let's say I come here and I go, oh, I like to go and open up my reading list so that I can keep track of things that I need to be reading here. So in each case, notice what they're doing now is they're putting a little pin icon there. So if you say, I use the reading list all the time, and I cannot imagine clicking the three dots, going to bookmarks and lists, going to reading list, and then going to show reading list, like, oh, come on, that's just silly. That's way too many. You can hit the little pin button, and now it pins it up there. And now you'll always have it there anytime you need. There's your reading list, or same thing with reading mode. There's reading mode. So that's the idea. They just decided to make a switch. So it's no longer a side panel. It's all about pinning. Any of these things that you use frequently, just click the pin from now on, and then you can get back to them right away. So for what it's worth, good to be aware of. All right, let me clean up a few of my tabs. I got too many things open. All right, well, let's keep on moving. Next up, just another nice small update. This is not something earth-shattering, but it's good. I'm glad they did this. Google has a new update to Google Sites that helps address permissions when you do a Google Drive embed. Now, what are we talking about here? Okay, so here's the idea. I'm sure if you have ever created a Google site, at some point you have probably embedded things into your Google site. That's a pretty common thing. That's not an unusual thing to do. Well, a common thing to embed in your Google site is to embed Google Files. You can add a Google document. You can add a slideshow. Well, I mean, think about our GEG Ohio meeting. Well, that's an embed. If you go to our GEG Ohio meeting website, this is a Google site. And if you go to our monthly meetings page, this is a Google spreadsheet that I have embedded into my Google site. So that's not new. That's not unusual. Putting a slideshow, a document, a spreadsheet in a site, that's normal. Here's the thing they've changed, which I'm glad they have. If you embed a document, a slideshow, a drawing, whatever, a sheet into a site, you probably know this, but if not, it does not, just embedding it does not share it. So even though this could be a public site, if I embed a document or a slideshow or a spreadsheet into my site and I hit publish, that does not make the actual embedded file publicly viewable. I have to separately go into the document, the slideshow, the spreadsheet, and I have to hit the share button and I have to say, oh, I want this to be visible by anybody with a link or whoever. Okay. If I don't do that, I can embed something, I can publish the website, but then when somebody comes to the site, they can read everything on the page and then they'll get this big error message here saying, you do not have access to view this. Well, Google is saying we don't want that to happen and somebody get confused. So now if you do embedding into a Google site, it is going to warn you. It's going to yell at you and say, hey, you're going to publish this. Heads up, that thing you just stuck in here, yeah, it's private. Nobody's going to see it but you. Would you like to share this? And so, it's going to give you an option to be able to go ahead and say, okay, I should share this. I need to, thanks for letting me know, Google. I didn't realize I had that set at private. So it's not a big deal, but it could really help a lot because I know this has happened to people. I know folks have published websites and forgotten to properly share the embedded files, and it comes back and creates a problem for you. So nice update there to that. All right, good stuff. I did see a question pop up in the chat about the last thing we were just talking about. Tracy asked, can we only pin one thing? If you were referring to pinning up in the corner here, no, Tracy, you can pin as many of those items up there as you want. You'll notice I have pinned a couple of things. So I'll just pull that article back up again, just so that we can use that as an example there. Right. So when for example, if I'm reading this article here, I can now come up and I can click on reading mode, and there's reading mode, which I have pinned. Now, again, I could unpin it and now it's gone. Then I could pin it again and now it's back. But I could also come up here and I could click on my reading list, which I can either unpin or pin up there as well. And the reading list could say, oh, I want to add this tab to my reading list because I want to get back to it later. Now, you can only see one of them at a time, but you can pin as many as you want. And I think there's other things we can pin. Probably, I would imagine they said this also applies to history and bookmarks. So we probably could also pin those. I mean, I'd have to go in and see if that's, I have not tried that, but for sure, the two that I most commonly used, yes, you can pin more than one thing up there in the top corner. Good stuff. Dan had asked about reading mode. Dan said, is reading mode only on personal accounts? No, Dan, I am not aware of any limitation on it. So like right now, this is my school account. This is my Spark account. So reading mode here, that this is my work account. So this is my Google Workspace for Education account. I don't remember if it has to do with like what version of Chrome you're on. I know they were rolling it out super slow. It was something that they announced like a year ago, and it was like getting rolled out super slow. So not sure, Dan, if you're not seeing it, I'm not sure why. This is my school account that does have the reading mode option in there. So apologies, I'm not sure about that. And it is possible if you have not updated Chrome, you might still have the side panel button if you're on an older version of Chrome. I'm on the most recent version, so it is current at the moment. But if you're on a device that has not updated the most recent version, or if you're running a Chromebook that has been locked at a certain version so that it always stays a few versions back, then you might still have the side panel button up there as well. All right. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end of our updates. Let's see. What do we have next? Another one that I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on, but it's just worth a shout out. Google has updated their terms of service for 2024. The key takeaway is they've added AI content to the terms of service. And one of the key items is that that if you create something with Google AI, they will not claim ownership of it. So this is, again, a 9 to 5 Google article here where they kind of went in and went through this update and pointed out a couple of key things. But that's one of the main takeaways I got from this is if I use Google Gemini to write a poem or to create an image or whatever, Google is clearly stating they do not claim ownership of those things. You are allowed to do with those whatever you want. They said, for example, if Gemini creates a poem, you could publish it in a book without needing to license it from Google. So they've come very clear to say, so there's no confusion about it, that if you create it with Gemini, you're allowed to use it any way that you would like to. So that's helpful. Next up, again, not a big thing, kind of small here, but for what it's worth, hey, nice to know there's now a dark mode available for Google Drive on the web. If you prefer to have a dark mode, you can now go into your Drive settings and appearance and switch to dark. Let me see if this has made it out yet. They had started, they said it was April 16th for it to start rolling out. Let me take a look and see if I've got it. I know it's shown up on some of my accounts. I don't remember if it's on this one yet. So let's go into our settings for Drive, and let's see, should be up there. It is under appearance. There we go. So let's go to dark mode, and there we are. We have joined the dark side. So if you want to come over to the dark side, you can now do it. You can decide what kind of a day you're having. Is this a light side or a dark side day? Again, just go into Drive, go to your settings. From your settings under appearance, you can switch between light mode and dark mode there. All right, good stuff. What's up next here? Here's one that I was hoping would have made it to my account, but as of yesterday, it had not made it out yet. Using annotations to enhance your presentations in Google Meet. Heads up, this is not in the free version of Google Meet, so it's going to be standard, teaching and learning, or plus. But in Google Meet, something that, my gosh, I can't believe they took this long to release this. This was something that was a big issue back in the pandemic when people were talking about Zoom versus Google Meet, the ability to annotate in a video conference. Well, guess what? We're getting it. So annotation tools in Google Meet. Presenters and co-annotators can use these tools to highlight content, make notations over presented content. So the type of things that are included in here, there's a pen, there's disappearing ink, there's stickers, there's a text box, and more. You can assign somebody as a co-annotator so they can annotate along with you. We got some pictures here. Let's see if we can get a better view of this. So it shows here I am inside of a Google Meet, and I've gone into annotation. So we've got stickers, disappearing ink, pen, text boxes, sticky notes, lines and shapes, colors. We can erase things. We can clear all of them, etc. And then there's probably another picture that shows things being annotated here. So here is, you can see, they've drawn on top of the screen there. Now, again, I realize if somebody's been using Zoom, you've had this for a very long time. And a lot of us who use Meet, we found other options. We found an extension or something that would let us, draw on the screen. What's nice about this, though, is it's built right in. So that means everybody can see it. It's not like, everybody needs to install something or whatever. I can draw, but then other people will see how I'm drawing on the screen there. So they're, again, explaining like you're doing a presentation, you want people to notice the thing that you're referring to. So it's great for guiding, jotting down brainstorming ideas, demonstrating how to solve a math equation, stuff like that. So, looks like it started rolling out April 18th, and we're on the rapid release. So I kept hoping it would show up. I can try again. I can bring Meet up again. Let's bring Meet back up here. Let's see, maybe it has made it out. Let's start up an instant meeting here. There I am. Hey, everybody. Let's see. No, don't see it in there yet. Well, it was worth a shot to check and see. But I was hoping it might be out by today so we could play with it, but it is coming soon. Now, if you're on a scheduled release, it's not coming out till April 25th at the earliest. On the rapid release, it should be here now within the next few days. So nice to see that getting included in Google Meet. And I think that brings us to the last update that I pulled out anyway. And this is from Chrome Unboxed. Again, another one of those websites I talk about that reports on Google topics, but it's not specifically from Google. They do a really nice job here on Chrome Unboxed. And what they're talking about is they've seen in I think the Canary version of Chrome. So if you're using the standard stable version, that's what everybody's on with Chrome. You can use a beta version that's got some testing things in it. You can also use a Canary version that is like very experimental. Typically, things in the Canary version then head to beta, then they head to the stable version. So apparently in the Canary channel, they've seen this new option to turn on PDF inking signatures. So what is this all about? So in short, this is something that you've been able to do on Chromebooks for years. I know I've demonstrated this at some point in our meetings. If somebody really wants to see it, I'm happy to demonstrate it. I can pull up my Chromebook and I can pop it up on the screen through a Chrome remote desktop. If you would like to see that demonstrated, I'm happy to do so. But basically, this is something we've had in Chromebooks for quite a while. And that is when I open up a PDF on my Chromebook, I have annotation features. There's not any pictures of it here, sorry. But when I open up a PDF on my Chromebook, I have annotation features. I can type on my PDF. I can draw on my PDF, and I can digitally sign my PDF. And that's just built in. That's just part of Chrome OS. I think I've said before in the past, I used to pay for a subscription to one of those PDF editing tools so that I could electronically sign my PDFs. Well, I canceled that subscription like long ago because I'm like, I just do it on my Chromebook. Anytime I get something that I need to edit a PDF, I just pull it up on my Chromebook, click on the annotation button and and I just go to it and I can just, type, write, draw all over the PDF. Well, what we're being told is this is now coming to the desktop version of Chrome as well. So hopefully soon in the next couple of months, if it's in the Canary version, it should only be about 2 months out or so. We should have this pin annotation feature inside of the PDF viewer for Windows as well. Now, I don't know, I would hope Mac too. They were just referring to this as Windows at the moment, but I'm sure it's just going to be desktop in general. So that's great. I'm excited for that. If that's the case, it just gives more ways for people to be able to easily interact with PDFs without having to have an additional, third-party tool. Not to say there's anything wrong with those. There's great third-party tools. There's third-party tools that do way more than that. I think of Cami as a quick example. Yes, Cami lets you annotate on PDFs, but Cami does like 100 other things beyond that. So it's not like, that's the only thing it does. But if that's what you're looking for, just an easy way to write on a PDF, looks like we're going to have that just built into the Chrome browser here soon. So that would be nice. Well, folks, that is it for the updates. We're going to move into show and tell and Q&A here in just a bit. But Denny, let's take a pause. Anything in the chat that I missed? Anything from the updates that you wanted to comment on? Anything we skipped before we move on?
No, I don't think so. I'm just a little sad I don't have dark mode, or at least I can't find it. So.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess. Well, what did they say? Did they give a date here? I don't remember. Starting April 16th, but they said it's up to 15 days. So okay. Yeah, by the end of the month, we should have it, but it's available for everybody. This one doesn't depend upon a paid version or anything like that. So yeah. Excellent. And dark mode is nice. I mean, it's nice for a lot of reasons. What's your interest, Denny? Why would you like to have dark mode?
I just feel left out.
Oh, you just feel left out. I hate dark mode. I can't stand it. But I don't want to be the only one who can't have it.
Right.
I like it when I'm like somewhere that I don't want to disturb people. Like if I'm on a plane, like I'm flying on a plane and it's, that time of, it's like a late flight or something and I want to use my computer, but I don't want to be blinding the person sitting next to me. That's good. Or if I was going to say if I'm in bed, I try not to bring a laptop to bed. That seems like a very bad idea. But for those who maybe you do that, you don't want to bother your spouse. That's another nice thing for it. So.
It does seem to be easier on my eyes at times. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, folks, we're going to go ahead and move into the next portion of our meeting, which is show and tell and then Q&A. As a reminder, with Q&A, here, let me approve these that got added in there. With Q&A, there's still plenty of time. If you've got questions, you want to drop those into the Q&A section, please do that. But for right now, we're going to do a little bit of show and tell. This is a section where we talk about other cool things we've come across. So they're not like Google announcements. It's, a neat extension we discovered, or a cool blog post, or a neat new tool that we came across. We're not joined today by our other co-hosts, so I'll just give a quick shout out to remind you that Stephanie has a great Google group you can join where she shares out lots of great show and tell quality things. And Sarah does a weekly email newsletter where she likewise shares out great things each week. So I always want to encourage people to join those if you haven't. Denny, did you have anything? I didn't see anything in the agenda, and that's totally fine. But did you have anything you wanted to give a shout out to today?
Well, the only thing that I just found this yesterday, and I still have to play with it a little bit more. There's a tool called Quizalize. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I can't speak to it. Yeah, I really don't.
Well, it looks worth checking out. It can take Google Forms and turn them into games. It seems to be a little bit different than the other tools that I've seen with regards to generative AI. So something I'm going to look into.
So it's
Quizalize. Yeah.
So, yeah. So if that's something you want to, dive into, maybe you can share that next month if it's something that you decide is worth doing a deeper dive into. But it's always great just to hear of a new thing to poke a stick at and see what it does. Well, thanks for sharing that. So as far as the things I was going to share, not much. Again, it's been a quick turnaround this last month and a busy month. I've had a significant amount of trainings. So my production kind of dropped off. I did not create as much new content. I do have my EdTech links of the week link if you do want to check that out. I've missed a couple of weeks that I need to fill in, but I'll try to catch up on those. This is where I share like my favorite things I saw that week. So I shared like a cool virtual rooms collection, a language learning game, a geography game, things like that. So always check out my EdTech links of the week. And then on my Control-Alt-Achieve blog, it looks like I had 5 things from the last month. The most recent, just posted this like yesterday. This was going to be a live webinar, and it ended up getting changed into a recorded one instead. Just schedules and things, it didn't work out. So if you remember me speaking about this, I may have mentioned this like a month or so ago, how I was going to do a Chromebooks Unplugged live webinar. Again, it became just a recorded video instead, but I think for the best. I think it came out better this way. Here's the gist. This is what this is all about. So what I wanted to do was basically, stress test a Chromebook, and so I was working with MediaTek. I don't know if you know MediaTek. They're real nice folks. They create processors, and they were kind enough to send me a student Chromebook, and they ended up sponsoring the video that I made for it, which was really nice of them. But basically, they sent me a student Chromebook. So what I mean by a student Chromebook is, not one of the like really high end, like what I use on a day-to-day basis is not a student Chromebook. I have 2 Chromebooks that are both, way more powerful than you would typically give to a student. Where this was a Acer 311 C723, and it's a standard student Chromebook. Now it's nice. It's it's ruggedized and it's got all the kind of things in there. What made it different is MediaTek. Their kind of claim to fame is their processors are like super efficient, and so they claim they can get up to 15 hours of battery life for the Chromebook because the processor is just really, really efficient in how it runs. So that was the plan, was to kind of take it for a test and see how does that work in the real world. So what I did was I took this student Chromebook and I used it for an entire day. I did my email with it. I did my web browsing. I wrote Google Docs with it. I mean, I worked on it all day long. And then periodically, like every 2 hours, I would record a little video, just a quick video to say, how's the Chromebook doing? And the entire time it was unplugged. So I charged it completely overnight, so it was all charged. And then I unplugged it in the morning and I never plugged it back in. It's like you're running on battery all day. I also went a step further and I turned off the ability for it to go into sleep mode. So I went into the power settings and I said, no sleep mode. If I walk away from the Chromebook, it has to keep running. The screen has to stay on. It cannot go into sleep mode. It has to run all day long. And so basically, that was it. And so I spent a whole day using the Chromebook, and then I did like 5 little short videos that I put together into one here. And those videos, when I did them, I wasn't just checking on the battery. I was also teaching things about the Chromebook because I wanted to make it more interesting than just that. So in the first one, I teach about accessibility tools. The next one, I show off screencast and Chrome Canvas. The next one, I show off Android apps. I play a little Minecraft on the Chromebook. Then the next one, I do some video editing on the Chromebook. And the last one, I demonstrate offline access. So I'm showing Chromebook features each time, but I'm also showing how well the battery is doing throughout the day. So that's it. That's what that one was all about. I'm seeing some comments in the chat. Was there an issue with the document?
We lost access to the Google Doc, Eric.
Something about sensitive data. There's okay. So are you able to view it, or you can't even view it?
No.
Can't even see it. Oh my gosh. So that's interesting. I'm going to have to find out what triggered. So here's the thing. We have, as you would certainly understand, as most schools, we've got some of the more advanced Google Education Plus features turned on to help protect against like PII, personal identifiable information getting released and stuff like that. Apparently something in this document triggered our sensitive information alert. I'm not sure what it was, but there's something in here that triggered the alert. I would have to here, let me pull. I'm going to do this all. Hey, it's a learning chance for all of us. So I'm going to take a look. I should have something in my Gmail. I'm not going to put that up on the screen. I'm doing this on another screen. I should have, I imagine, received some kind of an alert here. Do I have an alert here? I don't see one. I thought for sure I would have an alert that let me know why. Okay, well, folks, I apologize. I'm not sure what that did. Tell you what, I'm going to take out this information that got added in recently. I'm going to copy it just in case that's something that triggered it. Because I'm trying to, was there anything new that got added into the document?
I did add the link.
The Quizalize, but that shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, did that help? Oh, it was whatever that Facebook link was. Oh. Now I'm curious. now I'm okay. So, I don't know what that was. So we'll have to see. Okay. So apparently, whatever that link was here. I'll investigate it later. But yeah, Dan said, as always, Facebook was the problem. So something about that link was, Doug's going, sorry. That's okay, Doug. I know you didn't mean, to sabotage the document. That's fine. Don't worry. But hey, it's a neat learning experience. So for those that don't know, yeah, that's part of, and I don't know if it's just Education Plus, if it's teaching and learning, if it's Education Standard. I'm not sure which tiers it's part of, because we have the full thing. We've got all the way up to the Education Plus, but we've got that turned on to constantly scan all of our drive files. And if something appears to be sharing information that would be sensitive, it will shut that document down from sharing. So it's good. It's a good thing. You want to have that. So like if there's a document that has, personal student information in it, social security numbers, things like that, and you try to share it publicly, it should trip that warning and shut that down. So good to see that it works. Hey, I'm not sure why that did it, but good to see that it works. Okay, nevertheless, so that was the first thing, the Chromebooks unplugged. And by the way, if somebody needs that document again, I'll just put the link back to the document in the chat in case somebody shut out of it and needs to get back into it. So that was that fun little video I did on Chromebooks Unplugged, a day in the life of a student Chromebook. Basically, I used it all day without plugging it in. You can see how that turned out and hopefully pick up some helpful tips and tricks on accessibility and video editing and Chrome Canvas and things like that. Covered some fun things, played Minecraft on the Chromebook, stuff like that. So, okay, good stuff. The other things I shared, so this one, actually, I was really happy with. This is a rubric for evaluating AI tools for schools. So let me pull this up and give you just a little bit of an information about why I put this together. So I was doing some work with the school who asked, hey, Eric, there are so many AI tools out there. How do you pick? How do we limit it? How do we decide between tool A, B, and C when there's so many AI tools out there? And so I said, well, let me take a look and see what I can find. And so I started looking for rubrics, and there were a bunch. I did find some very nice examples of rubrics to evaluate AI tools. None of them quite did what I was hoping they would do. There was like bits and pieces that I liked of each of them. So I said, okay, let's make one. So basically that's what this is. So this is a rubric that I put together that has 18 essential criteria for evaluating AI products. This is completely free, as with everything I do. Creative Commons 4.0, you're allowed to copy it, modify it, reuse it. You do not need to ask permission. All I ever ask is just keep a link back to where it came from so people can get back to my original content there. But I'll go ahead and just get a forced copy of it so you can see what it looks like. It's nothing fancy. It's just a rubric, but I think it's nice. I think it's a good, solid tool to help. So if you are going to be evaluating AI tools, basically the idea is, hey, put together a team, go through this rubric. There's guiding questions for each one. There's spots for you to add in all of your ideas, score each of these things, come to consensus, and go from there. So for example, here's how it looks. You put in the name of the tool, the description, blah, blah, blah. For the scale, I'm leaving it up to you to put in your own scale. I'm not saying you have to use 1 to 5 or whatever. I don't care. Just decide what you as a team want to use for your scale, for your rubric. And then here's the 18 items. Basically, for every item, you'll get the description of the item, and then you'll get guiding questions. And it's not that you have to answer these questions, but maybe they just help you think through this. So like alignment with curriculum. Does the AI tool align with the curriculum goals and learning objectives? Can the tool be customized or adapted to align with your goals and objectives for different subjects, grade levels, and programs? And then here's a spot for notes. So as a team, you can take notes on it, and then over here, you can put in a score. Now, I would see using this as every person on the team, like each individual person could make a copy of this. They could type in their own notes. They could put in their own score. And then when they get back together as a group, everybody would share their notes, share their score. And then on one main version of this, they could put an agreed upon consensus score for each item. But then there's things like ease of use. How does it support the teacher's role? Is it age appropriate? How does it help with accessibility to support, students and learners? What about multilingual support? What about engagement, content accuracy, bias and fairness, content filtering? How does it integrate with other existing tools? What system requirements does it have? Is there a free option? Is it cost effective compared to others? What about updates and maintenance, training resources, customer support, and data privacy? So I think these are all really key important things. If you're really going to be looking at AI tools, this is the kind of stuff we need to talk about. These are the things we need to be going through and evaluating and taking notes on. Something else worth mentioning is you could also use this with your vendors. you could say, hey, we want to evaluate your tool. Here is a copy of this rubric we're going to be filling out. Hey, Mr. Vendor, Mrs. Vendor, would you please fill it out first for us? Let them fill it out once, and then you could maybe save some time for that, because maybe they know, like, oh yeah, here's all the ways we support accessibility. Well, let them type up all those notes and tell you that, oh, here's how we do multilingual support. Here's, how our pricing option is. Here's, how we do updates and maintenance. Send them a copy of this and tell them to evaluate themselves, to fill in as much as they can, and then use that in conjunction with your time as you as a group go through and evaluate the AI tool. So anyway, that's there for you. Have at it. If that's helpful, please use it. If you've got suggestions for improvement, let me know. I would love to get ideas. What did I leave off? I'm sure I did, but if I did, I'll take your ideas, and I'm happy to add more features to this and improve it over time. All right, good stuff. Next up, real quick, April is National Poetry Month, so I did do my annual or semi-biannual, triannual. Every now and then I'll post some of my favorite Google Poetry projects and tools, so I did that as well. I've got things like AI-generated poem activities. I've got verse by verse from Google. I've got drag and drop magnetic poetry and drawings. I've got random writing prompts for poems. I've got blackout poetry in Google Docs, poetry templates, just loads of stuff, a rhyming add-on for Google Docs. So if you are anytime, it doesn't have to be Poetry Month, but at any time, if you're looking for some good poetry resources, these are all googly oriented poetry projects and tools and resources that you can use with your students. Next up, another AI one, Super Prompt. So this is one that kind of was fun to create, talking about prompting. I know we mentioned prompting earlier. We talked about how Google has just put out that PDF on prompting suggestions, ways to create a better prompt. This is basically the same idea. I was trying to think, how can we make better prompts? Sometimes that's a challenge. Sometimes you go to ChatGPT or Gemini and you're not sure what to type in. There's a lot of great prompt resources out there. This is just one more idea. So basically what this is I said, I wonder, is it possible to use AI to help make AI prompts? If we're having so much trouble creating good prompts, or if that is a challenge, could AI help us to make our prompts? And so, I said, well, let's try it out. And so it took me a while. This was not quick. I tried a lot of trial and error. And eventually I came up with this, what I'm calling the super prompt. And so basically, this is the prompt that I ended up putting into the AI tools to ask it to make a prompt for me. And so basically it's saying, you are tasked with creating a detailed and adaptable prompt template for modern chatbots. K-12 educators are going to copy this template that you create, and they're going to insert their own information like grade level, subject area objectives. The prompt template should be detailed. The prompt template should be written in clear, easy to understand language. The prompt template should be designed with flexibility to accommodate a variety of educational settings. The prompt template should have clear indications where the educator should put in their own details, like use brackets for insert grade level here, insert subject area here. The prompt template should be pedagogically sound. And for this prompt template, here's what I need it to be. The task I want you to do is this. Please make the template for me. So as an example, let me just show you, here's one I did. I was like, okay, what if I want a prompt template to help generate stories for students to read. So I said, okay, hey, AI, I use ChatGPT 4 for this example. I want you to, make a prompt template for me for generating a story. And it said, sure thing. And here's what it created. I am a certain grade level teacher. I'm focusing on a certain subject area or grade level. My objective is to engage my students in reading through a tailored story that aligns with curriculum and captures their interests. To achieve this, I'd like you to generate a story with these specifications: this grade level, this subject area, these objectives, this theme, these character traits, this setting, these plot elements, this vocabulary level, incorporate this learning material, cultural sensitivity, moral or lesson, length. Now, are we going to use everything here? No, no, no. Don't worry. You can just fill in what you want. You don't have to use the entire prompt template here, but you can fill in as many of these things as you can. Please ensure the story is engaging, age appropriate, pedagogically sound. Thank you. Okay. And so basically, that's one for, and here's another one. I want a template for providing feedback. Sure, here you go. And this is what it created. And then I'm like, okay, I need a template to make a rubric. And this is what it created. And so in each case, it actually did a really nice job. It helped create a very thorough template that I could then copy and paste, fill in my own information, and use over and over and over and over again for any of these different tasks. So basically, it's a prompt template to create prompt templates. Like I said, it's sort of like promptception or one prompt to rule them all, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan. Now, it doesn't work well with every AI tool. This is a super heavy duty prompt. You're really asking the AI to think deep. You're asking the AI to create a template that other AIs can then use. So when I tested it out, I found out that it worked really well for ChatGPT 4. It worked very good for Gemini Advanced. It worked good on Claude 3, on Mistral and Microsoft Copilot, but only if I did creative mode on Copilot. It did not work well on the free version of ChatGPT, version 3.5. It did not work well on the free version of Gemini. So for what it's worth, I'm sorry to say, at the moment, the free versions of GPT and Gemini, it just didn't understand. It got confused. It couldn't think the several levels deep it needed to understand what I was really asking it to do here. Having said that, again, this is the worst it's ever going to be. The AIs just get better and better and better. But the paid version of ChatGPT, the paid version of Gemini were fantastic. But the free version of Sonnet, Claude 3 Sonnet, Mistral free, Copilot free, they did a good job. They really did, as long as you put Copilot in creative mode. So anyway, so that was another thing lately. And then actually I already talked about this, so we don't need to mention it again. This was the one I mentioned earlier. I did a post about my upcoming webinar on Chromebook accessibility tools. So that's coming up on May 8th if you haven't signed up for that yet. Other than that, the only other thing I have in here, Google had a nice blog post about 8 Google Classroom tips every teacher should know. I did not put this up in the updates because there's nothing new in this. There's no updates. There's no new features. It's just a nice blog post about, hey, if you use Classroom, are you sure you're taking advantage of everything? So it talks about, some things like, rubrics and classroom analytics and practice sets, talks about, doing the interactive YouTube questions. It talks about, when you assign your assignments, dates and times and who you push them out to. Talks about screencasts to record videos for the students. So none of that's new content, but hey, it might be some stuff you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that Classroom added that. I should really check that out. So I added it in. And that's it. That's it for the show and tell. We're going to move on to Q&A. And I think actually there's not much to do on Q&A because I think we covered Q&A. So you know what? We may be wrapping up a little bit early here. Q&A, we just had the question about the ISTE sharing document. Yes, that is here. If you're attending ISTE, please do click that document, add yourself to it to connect with others. And I think that's it. Denny, let's take a look. Did you see anything else in the chat or anything in the document that we have missed?
No other questions have popped up in the chat, and I don't think there were any other things that in the document that we missed.
Okay.
So,
Well, hey, we'll pop back on the camera to say hi to everybody and say Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. As just a final wrap up here as we finish today, please remember to sign in if you didn't earlier. On page 2, there's a link here to the Google form to sign in. That way I can send you a certificate. Heads up, next meeting, I'm not sure what the date's going to be. We originally had picked May. Oh, shoot. I'm going to forget now what we had picked originally. It was the last Wednesday of May, May 29th. That date is not going to work now. I have an obligation on May 29th that I can't adjust. So just be aware. I'm not sure yet. It might just be the week before. We might go to May 22nd. We may just do the Wednesday before instead. We will let you know. I will update this document with information on the next meeting. I will update the spreadsheet on the website as well. And of course, I'll send out, the email reminders and stuff as well. I just didn't want anybody to get confused. If you had seen the original May 29th date and added it to your calendar, that is no longer accurate. So probably May 22nd is my guess, but we'll let you know for sure, and we'll update that when we know for sure. Other than that, thank you so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure to learn with everybody, and hope you have a great tail end of the school year here as things are wrapping up. Anything else to add, Denny, while we finish up?
No, just thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of the school year.
Fantastic. Take care, everybody.